Thanks for tuning into our channel. If you don't already know who we are, APLS Group is your trusted source for all things talent and business development. We've been in the business for more than 20 years, and we're here today to provide you with industry-leading advice to improve your career and business in 15 minutes or less. My name is Paige, and I'm APLS Group's VP of Business Development, and today we'll be chatting with coach and facilitator Madra Britt to give you quick and proven strategies to find and land a career that you love. If you're stuck in a career that you hate, you're just starting out, or you're looking to advance, this vlog is for you. So Madra, thanks for being with me today.
Thank you for having me. I love what I do. It's a positive thing. The year past has been an excellent one for job change, and it looks like the coming year is going to be just as good. So looking forward to sharing some tips that can make that go much smoother and quicker.
Absolutely. Great. Because you've worked with individuals and organizations for over 20 years to guide them through job change strategy. So I want to go ahead and dive into what it is that you have to talk about.
Good.
So managing your career through job search or transition with Madra Britt on APLS Group's Elevate.
Well, as I mentioned coming in, what I like right now about the process is that the current job market has been a good one. And I was reading last week that Forbes says that 2022 is shaping up to be another very good year to think about looking for a job transition. I think the other positive thing is since the pandemic, what we're seeing and reading is that a lot of the market is going to be very employee centered. They are predicting now that the company culture and business models are all going to be reinvented. And I'm seeing that daily with the clients that I work with. They're going to have to consider flexibility. Employees like that, the work-life balance. And also we're finding that in light of all of this, that the employee may become a much more valued participant in a company's structure. So it's all very positive. I think work schedules, everything I'm seeing right now is that probably there's going to be some kind of hybrid work schedule. I haven't in 2 years anyway, and coming out of the pandemic, have not seen a 5-day in-office work schedule yet. So all that's to say, it's going to be a positive market. And as Paige said in the beginning, if you've thought about a job change, are considering a job change, this might be a good time to get started.
Excellent. So let's move on and talk about the job search process.
Number one is be proactive, whether you are deciding to build your career where you are within the company, or if you're thinking of a change and going outside the company. The main thing is not to wait for it to happen to you, to be very proactive. There is this process that absolutely works. You need to define what it is you do and what you want to do. People can't guess, and you have to be able to articulate that so that they can help you. Before you even start, it's really important to perfect your tools. There are certain tools that you're going to need to get started that each person's going to want to see. That would be your resume. Your LinkedIn profile is absolutely critical. I think it's an excellent thing to have professionally in any case, but in a job search, LinkedIn has become almost absolutely essential. Target some companies. Don't just throw darts. Figure out, do your research and make a list of target companies you might be interested in, or you at least want to look at. And then the other thing is to make a list of people who can help you. Define your network, list those people and how they might be able to help you. They need to know, most people want to help in some way, but it's up to you to figure out what they can do to help you other than give you a job.
Absolutely. And so I want to move into some resume strategies, because I know when people start thinking about having to redo their resume, it can get a little overwhelming. So talk to me about what are some tips that might be helpful for our listeners.
I think clarity and brevity. I think it's essential that you have what we call achievement statements. Companies want to know not a task that you do, but what were the results? What can you do for us? What have you already done that you can do for us? I think the other challenge in a resume, as we were told, most recent figures I saw, is that hiring managers and employers and search firms they take about 6 seconds to look at a resume. And for that reason, I think it's probably important to create a 1 page, maybe to use in your network. There will be people, and sometimes recruiters want a fuller 2 page resume if you've had over 10 years experience. The general guideline is for every 10 years of experience or less than 20, over 20, still I would stick to a 2 page resume. People just aren't reading. They're not going to read 2 pages. 6 seconds is a very short period of time.
Absolutely. And that's where LinkedIn comes in handy also, which we're going to talk more about. So where do jobs come from?
It's amazing where they come from. You can try to, will enumerate them here, but LinkedIn and Indeed, there are a lot of online sites, as we know, and more than ever. But I have found in my experience, and also some of the research and what I hear others talking about, that LinkedIn is very up to date. I have never heard of anything that is untoward or unprofessional about LinkedIn. The other one is Indeed. And by using these two, I have found, for the most part, that would cover the postings that are put out there by companies. Then the company, once you get your list of companies of interest, then you want to keep postings from those companies handy also. So have sort of a schedule to go back and check the postings on these companies to keep up with those. Search firms and recruiters are still another place to look. The last statistics I've seen, probably 10 to 12% of the jobs come from search firms. But I think if you're at senior level, most firms hire recruiters to filter out candidates for those much more senior positions. Your network contacts. I read last that 80% come from your jobs come from your network. And my experience is probably 90%. But it makes sense with so many applications that somebody who has worked with you or knows you or who can refer you, that's going to be the best, one of the best filters any hiring manager can have. Don't forget job fairs, organizations, and events. Now that we're coming out of, we think, the pandemic, more of these kinds of meetings are being held in person. And that's a very important place to network, to find out where the jobs are and to create contacts there. Cannot stress enough the hidden job market. 60% of the jobs come from the hidden job market. They never hit the airwaves. They never are seen online. That is makes it even more critical to be sure you've built out your network to help you get your resume looked at.
Great. And that takes us into the next tip that we want to talk about, which is really how you can use LinkedIn to help you find people to network with. And so I want to take you over, for those of you who don't know how to use the all filters component on LinkedIn, I want to take a minute and show you that. So we all know that you can go to the search box and type in the names of people that you do know. What we're looking for often is people we don't know, but we'd like to know, who might be able to help us network. So the way you get to the all filters feature is you click into the search box, don't type anything, just hit the return button. It brings you to this page where you have all these menu options at the top, and on the far right is the all filters component. That will then bring up the ability for you to search through LinkedIn, which is a huge database, and find people based on criteria that you want to consider. So let's say you're an engineer and you've been to NC State. So you're an NC State alum and you are looking for someone who works at Medtronics because you've decided that Medtronics is a company that you're interested in. So I'm going to use the all filters to say current company, they work at Medtronics, they are an NC State alum. We're going to click down the bottom, the blue button, and you can see there are 70 people there that you can now go through and see what their titles are, click on their LinkedIn profile, decide if they have a job similar to what you're looking for, and reach out to them and network with them. So let's talk about 85% of the jobs coming through your network.
If you didn't believe me the first time I said it, I'm saying it again. That is an absolute essential thing, that you develop this process. Not everybody likes to network, or at least what they think is networking, but that is where most of your jobs will come from. So to get started in this, make a list of people who know you, who you know, people in professional organizations, people from church, your graduate program, your undergraduate program, but get a list of people that you know can be helpful in some ways. The next thing, as we talked about before, get a company list, a list of companies that you think you'll be interested in. And then next, ask for information in these meetings, not a job. It's a real turnoff. Most people initially anyway, well, they can't give you a job. And so what you're doing is building your network of information. We are limited by the information we don't have. And so that first layer of networking should be gathering information so that you're laying ground for later being able to have someone help you get your resume looked at. I think creating your pitch, like I said in the beginning, that you have to let them know what you do and what you're looking for. You have to describe the things that you want to do and where you might want to do it. So these are all, you talk to people every day, but these are in what I call intentional conversations. You really need to have an agenda and a goal. Then the other thing is that how do you stay on their radar? It's not just a one-shot deal. The job may not be open right now. And so what your job is to try to figure out or ask them, how do you stay on their radar to position yourself when the openings come up in their company?
So I know networking can be something that people are often a little leery of, and understanding what might be some really good questions to ask when you do find someone who wants to take the time and sit down and have a conversation with you. What do you recommend people ask?
Well, of course, it depends who they are and how interested they are at what point in your networking. But I think it's always interesting. People, first of all, like to be asked about their own careers. And I think it's always of interest to ask what brought you to this company and what keeps you here. You get a lot of information when you ask very open-ended questions, and you're trying to get to know the company, what it does, and what you might expect. I think it's interesting to ask, tell me about a recent project you've done. What was that like? And be sure, again, use your open-ended questions because you get a lot of information that way. I sometimes want to know what kind of employees this company looks for. What do you consider a strong candidate? And then at the end of the meetings, I always think, who else should I be talking to? Other people know people and can give you a referral. And some referral is better, I think, than no referral.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Never too early. I think many people go into a job search thinking the time has come to change jobs and I'll change jobs. But it really is never too early to begin. And again, this all applies to whether you're looking internally to build your career or externally, or maybe both at this point. But it takes time to get your tools together. It takes time to build your network and also to do the research and be very targeted in your search. So you need to get those tools ready. You need to create a plan. Otherwise, you won't know, well, like we say, you won't know when you get there. But how much time can you spend a week, a day doing calling, researching, setting up meetings, looking at job postings? You need a plan. Also, remember, it's up to you to translate your skills, the things that you're looking for, what you want, always throw in, and what you don't want, to be able to translate that to the people that you want to help you. Then identify those people who can help. Establish your meetings and have very intentional agendas with goals. And as I said before, be sure it doesn't just shut down then. This is a process. And once you talk with someone, you want to know what's the best way to stay on their radar, that you'd like to circle back to them at some point down the way. That's very important.
Absolutely. And so the goal here is that we have tried to give you a few tips and tricks to be able to make the right job come to you. Anything else you want to add, Madra?
Well, it will. And I always add that I've been doing this over 30 years. And this process does work. If you'll stick with it and be patient and lay it out as we have suggested, the right job, the match will come, the right match for you and for the company. It will come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Madra, thank you so much for being on Elevate with me today. I look forward to chatting with you again about lots of different things.
Thank you. Me too. Bye-bye.